What is up, DTube, YouTube, Steam blockchain? Today I want to talk about a video that I am going to call 2019, the year smartphones are becoming alive. Like 2019. This is the year really when I'm looking at it, my first experience with the 2019 high-end smartphone, you know, these $1,000 phones, my experience with the Galaxy S10 Plus. Having it around a week, yes, I realize now that smartphones are becoming alive now. 2019. This is the starting year of phones becoming alive, and I want to tell what I mean with that, and I also want to say that we geeks that are doing a lot of content on YouTube and stuff like that, that can get devices maybe a little bit faster, we can sort of see ahead because we know that, okay, so geeks get many advanced devices maybe 2 years before, because other people, they're a little bit slower to upgrade because they usually don't earn value from getting the latest tech first, right? So the mainstream is going to get the experience that geeks are getting 2019. The mainstream is going to get it 2 years later, so 2021. Okay, so I can sort of feel how 2021 is going to be with the Galaxy S10 Plus, and I can feel how it's going to be for the average person in 2021. Because right now I know that most people have not had the personal experience of a super high-end phone like the Galaxy S10 Plus. I mean, regular people. It's mainly just a few geeks that, and yes, there are some other people also. Yes, there are people buying these stuff on contract, but I mean the general masses, they when they are gonna feel the smartphone experience, this high-end experience that we geeks are feeling now, 2019, they are gonna feel it in 2021. Okay, and that's kind of interesting, and it has been like that a long time. For example, with the Galaxy Note Edge, which was one of the first like Edge devices. Ooh, it was super cool, and it was like, what was that? Like 5 years ago, something like that. And now people are starting to talk, oh, waterfall design. Whoa, it's coming to the mainstream, right? It's like the geeks are seeing stuff ahead of time, and I'm gonna call it right now. It's like a couple of years I was quite worried about the peak smartphone thing. I was considering, I was kind of scared a little bit, like, okay, I sort of see, we sort of starting to peak out 2016, 2017. I'm not seeing anything super new cool, but now I know what the new thing is. And that was actually the more virtual reality dynamic experience that a phone feels when you're getting this latest super high-end hardware, and feel how much of a different experience it is. So I kind of knew a little bit that it would be a lot about the software, but I did not have a personal experience of it. Now I have it. And this is one of these things where if you're just using an older phone, you can't even imagine how great the Galaxy S10 Plus is, like personal experience. You can't even imagine it, because when I go back to my Galaxy S8 from the Galaxy S10 Plus, I'm like, no, no, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Why is the screen so small? Why is stuff loading slow? It's hard to see things. I can barely look at the Galaxy S8 display after using the Galaxy S10 Plus. And that's real. And like the fresh feel, the feel of a fresh new phone. I still have that with the Galaxy S10 Plus, and it's almost a week in. I usually don't get that feeling, and it's mainly because of the software. The software and how it's working so butter smooth with the hardware. It's amazing. And I can sort of feel that, yeah, this is the Snapdragon 855, and yeah, this is high-end stuff. This is high-end stuff. So why is smartphones becoming alive? Like, okay, this is a taste of the next decade where everything can be focused on when all the hardware stuff is fixed. Everyone's sitting on amazing hardware, amazing cameras, amazing internet, amazing this and that and this. All the hardware. They have all the hardware covered. Yeah, we're getting these yeah, soon we have these 4,000, 5,000 milliamp batteries in phones, and it's probably going to be super mainstream. And yes, we geeks got that a little bit early with these $100 phone a couple of years ago. We got a taste of the future already then, but the hardware is getting so good that the device, like the smartphone that a person is using, almost before you even pick it up, it has already gotten you the information or what now it is you wanted to do. It's like it almost already has done it. That sounds maybe super philosophical, but in a way it's kind of true, because my Galaxy S10 Plus is probably like, in terms of software and like just the feeling, just the experience of using the phone, it feels like it does everything twice as fast. That's probably not like accurate exactly by the second and stuff like that, but by the experience, it is it's good. It's really good. So okay, so this year one in smartphones becoming alive. So it's all gonna be about the software now, and consumers can finally the consumers can finally focus on almost becoming managers a little bit. Uh, and what I mean with managers is they can look at the software, they can communicate with companies what it is they want to see in the next device, and they can sort of guide them a little bit. So now, when all these smartphone brands are starting to have pages on the internet and stuff like that, and people can like give them feedback, that's the new role that people sort of gonna have in a way, where in the past the way people interacted with devices was they did not really have that much influence in how the next device would be. But now when all these companies eventually is going to move into software, uh, people can sort of have a more dynamic experience over how the next device is going to be, because they can sort of feel in many ways that the way they are coming at things is going to be, they can they can be more professional because they have better cameras on their devices, so they can record better videos, and smartphone companies maybe see the video and they can hear the feedback. And if you're giving them feedback, for example, in comments and stuff like that, if they're asking, many companies now, they want to have interact more with people using their devices. This means that eventually people are going to get, the consumers basically going to have so much influence over, they eventually going to get what they want, okay? Because these companies eventually they're going to have to satisfy, they want to satisfy people so they can sell more devices and stuff like that. So it's going to be like people will have more influence over how software develops, how hardware develops, and this is going to be amazing, okay? And this is going to make the devices really become more alive. Um, so I was, so it's really cool, uh, and it's going to feel more alive, um, because it was stagnant a very very long time, or maybe not a long time, maybe 5 years or so, and now it's going to be better. But it's almost like this. It's almost like people still sort of want, they still want to see like almost like a, you can say it like this. It's like the consumers, the role they had with devices in the past, it was more that they were the spectators of a show. While when the software is getting and hardware is getting super advanced and super much improved, it becomes like they are not, they are not just they are not just sitting in the audience, looking at someone else doing a play, but it's like the audience sort of becomes the actor. That might sound super confusing, but it's like the consumer is not, the consumer is now going to be at the center role of this whole sort of thing. The consumer is basically going to, uh, they just because what people have these devices for is they're watching videos, they're watching content. So and people are producing content, right? So it's like the consumer is now playing the main role of this whole show, because people buying these devices to consume a lot of stuff, and humans have to use their devices and sort of create stuff. It's like they are now creating the virtual reality sort of experience. While in a like just 5 years ago, when I looked at my YouTube stats and stuff like that, it was mainly desktop users. That was your main audience. It wasn't people that were walking around and sort of looking at videos on their phone, because most of the infrastructure was just not there. But now in this, when people have this smartphone infrastructure, and when everyone is having these devices, now they're looking for cool stuff. Now they're looking for having some kind of role. Maybe they just want to consume stuff, sure, that's also a role. And many people are also going to create virtual reality, and many people are going to use their devices to sort of be almost like a knowledge worker, where they're sort of cross-checking knowledge, and they see if they agree with it. They sometimes put in their own sort of input of that, over how, like, their view of stuff. So this is going to create it so people can they can truly create customized virtual experiences. So people gonna basically design their own virtual reality experiences. And the way I usually look at, when I see how people sort of look at artificial intelligence, the way I think artificial intelligence in many ways is going to work is it's going to respond the way you want it to respond. This means that the experience can be any way you want it. Because, and I'm not sure if that's true, but if smartphones now truly are becoming alive, it's going to be so people have to have an increased awareness that they are going to create their own artificial intelligence experience in many ways. Uh, and and people sort of need to be aware of that, because if they're not aware of it, then they might get sort of super confused, or they may not understand. They may not understand why they're having a specific virtual experience. They may not be aware. They may forget it completely, that they can sort of be a creator in this whole show. Because it's like, okay, you have the best hardware, you have the best hardware and the software eventually now. It's like the show is on you right now. Either you can create a lot of stuff, or you can consume, or you can play cool games. But for example, let's say a person plays cool games, they should have the awareness that if you're playing a cool Android game or an iOS game, that you can probably interact with the game developers and be a participant in how that experience is being developed. So let's say you have some great idea about a game, you should probably leave some great feedback. And it's kind of cool sometimes when you're getting feedback in return. Maybe they saw your comment or something like that, that you sort of realize when you get that validation back that you can design stuff, okay? And this is just going to speed up even more. So people should really have an awareness that right now, when phones are now going to become more alive because the software is going to be more engaging. I always see it on my phone that the software is always becoming more engaging. Menus are getting better, apps are getting improved, games are getting better, videos are getting better. All of these are experiences. The user interface is getting better. All of this is really making phones become alive. And I really sometimes go back to old devices and I try to see if maybe I missed it in the old devices. Um, Maybe they also feel alive, but they do not feel alive. Okay. This is like year one of this. And I also look at it from my own devices. maybe a couple of years ago, I needed to use maybe 2 to 3 devices or maybe 4 devices to do same things as I now can do with one device. But even with that, uh, I realized in many ways when people will be able to when they're really trying to see how they can use their devices to create more value to the world. Yeah, I think eventually then it's going to make it so people are going to try to use the devices in very resource efficient ways, uh, and uh, I can definitely see it in many ways how people maybe in the future is going to buy devices in bulk, maybe three devices, and they're just going to use it for different purposes. So maybe they're going to use one device used for one app only, and just because they make these micro improvements in their head where they realize, well, and because technology is going to become smaller also, they're going to realize all the waste of like maybe it's not that clever in the future to have 100 apps on a phone. Maybe they realize it's just better to use one small little device with one app, and so it's just designed for that purpose. And we're probably going to see phones with that a lot in the future, which is sort of going to be kind of cool. For example, it's kind of interesting when you have battery optimization mode on the Galaxy S10 Plus, you don't even notice it's any slower, right? So these devices can like optimize your battery at the same time as you don't even know. It still feels like a high-end phone. That's super, super cool. So so that is what I wanted to say a little bit in this video. And yeah, it's quite good also, as I said there, to know this thing that the devices that comes out today is the devices that the mainstream is probably going to be aware of 2 to 3 years in the future. And that is when you're going to see the positive sides 2 to 3 years later, basically. So that means that a lot of cool phones that came a couple of years ago, now people are starting to use them. Okay. And a couple of years ago, I was sort of considering this thing of it sort of feels like we never get to this stage where everyone has HD video, and it was many, many years where it was like 360p content and a lot of GIFs. A lot of it was like low quality. A lot of websites, yeah, still a lot of websites is like super low quality. But like a lot of the experience that we had, like now you're starting to see things really, really improve. It was a couple of years also I was sort of worried about the algo, like how the algo would interact, what kind of content would it promote, what kind of content would it like ignore. But I'm quite happy with the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, how how it works. Okay, it's intelligence. So yeah, I was a little bit concerned that it would not work as great, but it's intelligence. It works great, uh, and it keeps getting better, I would say. But yeah, people should really be aware of that artificial intelligence. Probably, I have no like proof of this, but it probably will create the experience like a person, whatever it is they want to like create, like the artificial intelligence would sort of adapt to that probably and sort of try to learn how what a human want to do and stuff like that. It's like it should probably be your friend, right? uh, and it's really, I think, gonna shift in humans consciousness where where many ways humans can sort of sink into what they are, and not have to have this obsession about getting followers, getting likes, getting clicks. That it's just like if they sink into what they are, and if they're using functions on their phones for the best, and take the positive out of everything, then you can really create interesting experiences. And if it's intelligence, then you should start to see improvements. You should start to see improvements in all kinds of things, because intelligence is intelligence. So yeah, I definitely say this is year one, and it's year one to basically a better sort of internet experience. Because I mean, yeah, sure, we have a lot of apps on devices, but most people use some form of internet, and these devices are in many ways, I think, going to change the way, like it's going to move into a phase where people can sort of have more time over to sort of look at designing better experiences, designing better internet, and designing a better internet. It comes down to a lot of things. I mean, like people should have start to have more awareness of they're sort of creating stuff, and they're sort of engaging with the world with these devices, so they are a participant in this dynamic new experiences that phones are going to move into, where phones are moving from mechanical machines to mainly energy machines. And if it's mainly just energy machines, yeah, it's like if all is use energy, it's going to move it so people have more an increased awareness of it's not just a mechanical device. It's not like this separate thing. The phone is more starting to uh, blending into with artificial intelligence to really create whatever it is you want to create, right? Or whatever experience you want to have. Like it's becoming a person's story. And it's kind of funny that we say that it's a person's story, because this is also what you see with a lot of the virtual world. I mean, people creating their own stories, people creating their own shows, and people seem to sort of enjoy it. People seem to sort of enjoy it, same as they enjoy movies, TV shows, and all this. And it's very, very cool that humans now can be able to create all of this stuff that usually took very advanced software in the past, very advanced hardware, and that now we can just pack it into a phone and play around with it. Um, so yeah, I would say this is year one of this new evolution, and a lot of it, I want to say thanks to like Samsung and a lot of other phone companies that they're creating bigger devices, because it really does create a better experience. So, for example, the new Samsung Galaxy A30s, which recently came in Europe, 6.4-inch display. So, and that's like a third of the price of the Galaxy S10 Plus, but still kind of the same big display with an in-display fingerprint scanner. I have to congratulate Samsung for doing this, because it doesn't feel like a big device, but it does create a better virtual reality experience. It really changed the way you interact with the device. It's yeah, it really does. Yeah, so that's what I want to talk a little bit about, and it's going to be super exciting now, I think, the next couple of years to see what where the sort of whole industry is going to go. And but I think they're going to keep on improving. They're going to keep on improving as they always have, and eventually they can mainly focus on creating amazing software experiences, because that's something that it's still not amazing. There can be so many improvements in the software experiences. It can become way better. It can become way more open. It can become like the ability to create apps and widgets. It should be super easy to sort of create your own sort of virtual experiences with that. You should be able to build an app inside the phone, super easy. You just tell the AI what to do, and it just goes and builds it. And you should definitely be able to have that function. But that also means that a lot of the software sort of needs to be completely redesigned in like the way it sort of is structured right now, because right now all the apps are not really communicating that much with each other, and sharing stuff between things is just overly complicated right now. So in many ways, you're going to have a complete redesign of a lot of the software, and that's going to be cool, because it's going to create a lot of novelty effects where people sort of see the stuff is sort of improving. and that they don't have to always sort of get new hardware to sort of experience this new amazing things. Of course, I'm still also looking forward to new amazing hardware, new amazing improvements in that. It's going to be quite interesting to see where the smartphone industry goes the next 5 years. But one thing for sure is they're going to become more alive. They're going to feel more alive, because that's just where the sort of the whole experience and the whole industry is going. It's not like it's going to become less. Like it's going to become more virtual, more engaging, and more gamification. And that's going to be super cool. All these gamification experiments that right now is kind of hard to do your own sort of gamification models yourself and try kind of play around with it's quite a challenge to do it, mainly because how the software is working right now, and how a lot of systems are operating, and you know so yeah, 2019, the first year smartphones truly feel that they're becoming alive. And you're only going to have this main experience if you are at the moment having or trying out high-end phones from 2019. And yeah, it's kind of cool. So then I mean like the OnePlus 7 Pro, Zenfone 6, Huawei Mate 30 Pro that I saw some leaked photos of, iPhone 11 Pro Max, Galaxy Note 10, is it 10 Plus? Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. What else? Maybe some Xperia 6 or something like that. Yeah, there's is a lot of devices coming out, and most of these are a bit high end, but yeah, I skipped devices last year, 2018. It would be kind of cool to try them out, but I don't know. Going into 2020s, I'm really looking forward to 2020, 2021 devices, sort of see what they're gonna do. But the experience is gonna be more about. I think a lot of it's gonna be about finding joy in seeing small, cool new things, and uh, and as I said, like sink into what you are, sink into the sort of experiences that you want to have with your visual devices. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Have an awesome day, YouTube, Steam blockchain. Bye bye.